Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Apocalypto 2 Ki Kahani Ek A's Sapna Ya Fan Imagination Ka Netija Hijo Asli Film Apocalypto, 2006, Ki Legacy Sejurahua Hai. Yi Sequel Asal Mind Koi Studio Back Film Nahi Hai. Borki Ek Fan-Made Concept Trailer Hijo YouTube Channel KH Studio Any Banaya Hai. Is Concept Trailer Any Digital Dunia Mind Kafites Viral Hogaya. Kyun Ke Aski Production Value Itni Aki Hai Ke Kuch Log Shurumine Samaj Gay Ke Yi Ek Real Film Ke Promo Hai. Leaking Anda Ke Bart Yi Hai Ke Koi Bi Bardi Film Company Ya Mel Gibson. Gis Any Original Apocalypto Banaya Tha. Any Officially Apocalypto 2 Announced Nahan Kia Hai. KH Studio Any Apni Video Mind Could Leak a Hai Ke Yi Ek Concept Trailer Hai. Ek Kalpanik Art Project Jiska Maxad Bass Entertainment Dina or Fan Imagination Ko Jagana Hai. Trailer Mind Visuals, Effect, Sound Design, Voiceover SAB Bahut Cinematic Tariq Se Use Kaya Gay Hain. AI Narration, Jungle Ka Dadamahal, Purane Mind Sharon Ki Tazvir, Jungli Junglo Ki Jung or Jung Mine U Dekai Gay Hain. Yi Footage Asli Apocalypto Se Nahan Hai Hai. Borki Kach Scenes Dusri Movie Se Mashup Kaya Gay Hain. Taki Trailer Ko Zayada Epic or Cinematic Feel Mile. Trailer Mine Ek Powerful Voiceover Hijo Prophecy. Doom or Naya Katra Dikata Hai. Yiketa Hai Ki Jab Defta Kamoshoja Yenj, Tab Janwaran Ka Zor Boluthiega, Jo Symbolic Hai, or Usmain Sacrifice, Waba, Disease, or Ek Terra Ka Spiritual War Dekaya Gaya Hai. Tagline Mine Lika Hai, The Jungle Remembers, Jo Audience Ko Yi Message Dita Hai Ki Jungle Ki Yadane or Virasat Abazinda Hain, or Purani Kahani Ab Dobarup Ha Sakti Hai. Plot Ki Fan Speculation Yi Batadi Hai Ki Jaguar Paw, Jo Original Film Ki Hero Tha, Ab Ek Badlahua, Zayada Samajdan Nidaban Gaya Ho Sakta Hai. Wo Ab Apni Kabile Ki Bunya Jubara Kardikan Ki Koshishkar Raha Hai, Leaking Ek Naya Katra Samna Aa Gaya Hai, Kuch Bad Jangla Dushman, Ya Ho Sakta Hai Ki Samanda Ki Rahi, Jungle Ki Simase, Aa Rohi Hain, Jo Lohe, Steel Hathia, Bamari or Zayada Tabahi Lanwale Hain. Is fan concept mind spiritual or mystical elements be Hain? Kabile Ki Purani Bavashivanian, Devtayon Ka Roj, or Kurbanian Ka Ek Isa Dorjo Fur Sajagda Hai. Kuch fan Kahani and Mine Yi Bikaha Gaya Hai Ki Naya Katra Surf Physical Nahan Hai, Borki Existential Hai, Kabile Ki Pechan, Uski Azadi, or Uski Mul Sanskriti Ka Survival Katra Mine Hai. Jaguar Por Ko Na Surf Jung Mine Labna Hoga Borki Apni Kabile K Logon Ko Ekne Da Sabakana Hoga. Ek Da Jo Unki Ru or Unkizamin Dono Ko Chusakta Hai. Trailer Ki Hisab Se, Ne Characters be introduced Kaya Gay Hain. Kuch Warriors, Ek General Ya Nida, Spiritual Leaders, Shayad Vo Log Jo Purani Kabile Ki Ruhani Virasat Ko Sambaltain. Yi Log Jaguar Por Ki Sath Hosakte Hain. Ya Uski Kalaf B. Narrative Mine Ek Tribal or Metaphoric War Dikane Ki Koshish Hai. Is fan version mine Usbi Focus Hai Ki Kaisei Uski Leadership Evolve Hui Hai, or Kaisei Uski Zimadari Surf Survival Ki Nahan, Borki Logon Ki Bakat or Unki and Wali Nazlon Ki Bavashir Te Khan Ki Hogay Hai. Visual Style Mine Trailer Purani Film Ki Ya Dalada Hai, Gan Junglat, Mayan Pyramids, Lush Greenery K Beach Gladiatorial Battles, or Kun Chashmi Scenes Dekai Gay Hain. Cinematic Editing, High Production Value VFX or SFX Ka Istimokia Gaya Hai. Tacky Nostalgic Feel K Sarthek Naya Dark or Dangerous Mahal Create Hosake. AB Bart Cast Ki. Trailer Mine Jaguar Por Ka Zika Hai. Or Kuch Fan Sources Mine Rudy Youngblood Ka Nam Mention Hoda Hai. Jo Original Film Ka Hero Tha. Leaking Yi Confirm Nahan Hai Ka Use Sak Mine Cast Kia Gaya Ho Ya Jishi Negotiation Mine Ho. Kyun Ka SAB Speculation Hai. Production Ka Koipada Nahan Hai. Dusra Characters, Ne Warriors or Spiritual Leaders. Ka Koi Real Casting Announcement Nahan Hua Hai. Ilai, Jab Log Trailer Dekta Hain or Cast Ka Barmine Bartkadi Hain. Vozayada Ta Fan Imagination or Speculation Pa Base Hodi Hai. Nak Jishi Verified Production Pa. Release date Kib Bart Boatni Hai Unclear Hai. Kuch Fan Pages or Speculators Mention Kadi Hain 2025 KO. YAX Speculative Release Window K Roop minus Sal Ka Zika Kia Gaya Hai. Leaking ye date Jishi studio announcement par base nahan high. Ye surf fan prediction YA wishful thinking high. Koi official press release. Production schedule YA shooting start hone ki kabar a btak nahan ie high. Aga ye film ban birahi hodi. Tua's high budget historical drama ki liya pre-production, shooting, VFX or post-production mine kafi sami lagta. Or abitakas terra ka koi credible proof nazar nahanada. Media or film news websites NEB is issue ko highlight kia high. Unhone confirm kia high k trailer ek viral fan payload high. NAK koi legitimate sequel. Kutch expert articles NE bataya high k fan made AI generated trailers kal bahut common hain. Or ye viral hype ban jane k alia ban I jate hain. Asli studio backing k bina bilog unhi real samaj nashuru ka deet hain. Ye phenomenon technology or digital creativity ki tarkat ko be dikata high. Creators ABAI voiceovers, visual effects or sound design ka uskar ke itni convincing trailer banner sakte hain ka log confuse hojayin ka ek real film high. Kutch online communities, J's Reddit. Mine be log apnishanka ya umed sharkar rohi hain. Kutch ket hain k trailer clearly fan made high. Kutch kard hain k aga sequel ho be. To woek spiritual continuation ho sakti high ek direct plot sequel. Kutch uses warn kardi hain KAI or digital editing KA misuse ho raha high. Jisi asli or fake content KA gap blur ho gaya high. Historic or cultural perspective se be ye fan project interesting high. Original apocalypto film any my civilization KA collapse KO dramatize kia THA, or usmain ek moral or philosophical garahi thigh. Jab ek sarkar apni and atut J. Jab greed or power dev tayon says iada logon KI mort KI tariff J. To tab uska na surf physical collapse hoda high borki ruhani katrabiata high. Fan trailer mine ye themes continue kar rohi hain. Na keval yud or survival, borki identity, heritage or spiritual legacy ka katrabe. Echo point ye high k trailer ka tagline the jungle remembers symbolic high. Jungle surf echlocation nahan high. Borki memory ka exinda shiha high. Johon kabile ka yadain, unki kahanian or unka virasat zinda high. ISI memory ko furjagaya gaya high. Ek fan imagination k zaria. Leaking wo memory asli be hosakti high. Ek myth b. Ye unu viewers par depend kada high jo trailer deck de hain or as par believe kardi hain. Ek or cos bart. Ye trailer ek digital artwork be high. KH studio ka design, editing or VFX ka kami dikada high k ye creators apni storytelling or visual craft mine itna maharat rakta hain k woek movie jaisa feel banasakte hain. Bale highway movie kabiban high na rehiho. Is terra ka fan content audience ko ye question dikada high. Agar apki pasandada film ka sequel nahan banner. Takia AAP uska kalpnik sequel could imagine karkdek na chahenge. Or ye digital iramine possible ho chaka high. AI or video editing tools ki wajase. Leaking south high. Ye sab ek cautionary tale be high. Jabhum koi trailer dek de hain. Hamisha sokna chahiye ki official high ya fan made. Viral hone wali chizen zayada emotional response jagade hain. Or logan hi jaldi shekar deet hain bina confirmed kaya ki wo asli hain ya nahi. A's fan trailers kabi do taraki sakam kardi hain. Ek tariff wo fan imagination or nostalgia ko celebrate kardi hain. Dushri tariff wo misinformation ka zuria be banned sakte hain aga log unhi real project samaj lean. Akia mine, Apocalypto 2, Joabi internet mine dik raha high, ek film k bajai ek tribute, ek imagination ka jahon high, ek jaga jahon fans apni kahani could banner rohi hain, apni virasat ko niba rohi hain, or ek mythical future ka sapna dek rohi hain. Ye ek homage highest film ka liya jiseni bahut logon ka duljida tha, or ek example high ka kaise digital art or fan culture age ki dunia mine filmmaking or storytelling ko expand kar rohi hain. Leaking ye yard rakna zaruri high. Philhal, Koibi production contract, studio deal ya Mel Gibson se confirmation nahan high, or ye zayada tar ek creative vision high, nak ek pending blockbuster. The discussion around Apocalypto 2 continues to capture attention because it touches on a number of cultural and psychological aspects of how audiences interact with media in the digital age. One of the key reasons the fan-made trailer went viral is nostalgia. The original Apocalypto left a lasting impression due to its intense storytelling, immersive visuals, and emotional depth. Many viewers remember the perilous journey of Jaguar Paw, the raw depiction of survival, and the larger philosophical themes about civilization, human nature, and the consequences of societal collapse. When fans see a trailer hinting at a continuation of that story, even a speculative one, it naturally sparks excitement and imagination, which fuels sharing, discussion, and online speculation. Another factor is the quality of the fan production itself. Advances in video editing, AI voice synthesis, and visual effects have made it possible for independent creators to produce content that rivals professional trailers in appearance and tone. In the case of Apocalypto 2, KH Studio utilized these tools to construct a cinematic experience complete with lush jungle landscapes, realistic fight sequences, and evocative narration. These elements create an emotional resonance that mimics official promotional content, making the fan trailer feel like a legitimate product even though no studio has endorsed or produced it. This phenomenon also illustrates how the boundary between official media and fan-created content is increasingly blurred. Digital culture allows for the creation of highly convincing visual narratives, and audiences often respond emotionally without verifying authenticity. This can lead to widespread belief in projects that do not exist, while simultaneously providing fans a platform to engage creatively with their favorite stories. In many ways, Apocalypto 2 as a fan concept serves as a cultural experiment in how myths and stories evolve in the modern age. It exists primarily as an idea and narrative potential, rather than as a physical film that will appear in theaters. The speculative plot of the trailer expands on the philosophical and existential themes of the original film. While Apocalypto explored societal collapse and the personal journey of survival within a historical context, the imagined sequel intensifies these elements. Jaguar Paw, now older and experienced, is presented as a leader struggling to protect his rebuilt tribe from new external threats. These threats symbolize both tangible dangers, such as foreign invaders and disease, and intangible existential pressures, like cultural erosion and spiritual imbalance. The fan narrative introduces elements of prophecy and mysticism, heightening the tension and creating a narrative that is both epic in scope and intimate in personal stakes. From a psychological standpoint, the fan engagement with Apocalypto 2 reflects the human desire to continue stories that resonated deeply. The emotional investment audiences have in characters like Jaguar Paw makes them receptive to any extension of the story universe, regardless of official backing. This behavior is amplified in digital environments, where social sharing and viral content accelerate the spread of information and speculation. The more polished and cinematic a fan creation is, the more likely it is to be perceived as credible, which explains why so many people initially believed the Apocalypto 2 trailer represented a real production. Culturally, this discussion also highlights the enduring fascination with historical and mythological storytelling. Apocalypto tapped into universal themes, the rise and fall of civilizations, the tension between human ambition and natural law, and the struggle of individuals against the forces of history. The fan-made sequel continues this exploration, using the framework of Jaguar Paw's journey to reflect on resilience, legacy, and the cyclical nature of human societies. Even without an official sequel, the narrative potential is powerful enough to inspire visual storytelling and fan engagement, demonstrating how mythology can evolve in contemporary media landscapes. The digital tools used in creating the trailer also underscore how technology transforms storytelling. AI-generated voiceovers, realistic VFX, and sophisticated editing allow creators to simulate the atmosphere and emotional impact of high-budget productions. For the audience, the lines between what is professionally produced and what is independently created can become blurred, encouraging deeper engagement with speculative narratives. This has implications for the future of fan culture. It demonstrates that audiences are not just passive consumers of media but active participants capable of extending narratives in ways that feel authentic and meaningful. Furthermore, the discussion around Apocalypto 2 illustrates the complex relationship between media, memory, and myth. The trailer positions the jungle not merely as a backdrop but as a symbolic repository of cultural memory, where the past lives on and informs the present. In this sense, the fan-made project does more than entertain. It reflects on the ways in which stories endure, how legends evolve, and how modern audiences reinterpret historical narratives through the lens of contemporary creativity. By imagining Jaguar Paw's next journey, fans engage in a form of narrative continuation that merges imagination with homage, blurring the line between historical reflection and cinematic speculation. Despite its unofficial status, Apocalypto 2 also highlights the importance of discernment in digital media consumption. Viral content can create the illusion of reality, and audiences must be critical of the sources and production context. The trailer's polish and cinematic qualities might mislead viewers into believing in an impending film release, but careful observation reveals it as fan-generated content, not a studio-backed project. This distinction is crucial for understanding how modern media ecosystems function, where the distinction between official and unofficial, real and imagined, is increasingly mediated by digital literacy. Ultimately, Apocalypto 2, as a fan-made concept, serves multiple roles. It is a celebration of the original film, a demonstration of modern digital creativity, and an example of how narratives can evolve outside of formal production channels. It allows fans to continue engaging with the story world they love, to explore themes of survival, resilience, and cultural memory, and to participate actively in storytelling. While it may never appear as a theatrical film, the cultural and psychological impact of its creation and reception is significant, highlighting how digital media, fan communities, and technological innovation intersect to shape contemporary narrative experiences. The fascination with Apocalypto 2 also lies in the intersection of history and imagination. The original Apocalypto rooted its story in a recognizable historical framework, drawing on the late Maya civilization as a backdrop for the universal story of survival and societal collapse. Jaguar Paw's journey was not only physical but symbolic, reflecting themes of resilience, morality, and human instinct. By contrast, the fan-made trailer for Apocalypto 2 takes these same historical touchpoints and amplifies them with speculative fiction. The story imagines a world where the survivors of the original conflict face new existential threats, pushing the narrative into both epic and allegorical territories. This extension of the story transforms a historical action-adventure into a meditation on legacy, cultural memory, and the consequences of unchecked aggression. One of the most compelling aspects of the fan trailer is how it engages with the idea of civilization in flux. The original film depicted a Maya society in decline, emphasizing internal weaknesses and moral corruption that hastened collapse. In the imagined sequel, these themes are intensified. Jaguar Paw's community is shown rebuilding from the ashes of previous devastation, only to confront threats that are both external and symbolic. This narrative choice highlights the cyclical nature of societal growth and decay, suggesting that even after triumph, vigilance is necessary to preserve community, culture, and identity. Such storytelling resonates with audiences because it mirrors the human experience. No victory is permanent, and every generation inherits the consequences of previous actions. The fan trailer also explores the theme of leadership and responsibility. In the original Apocalypto, Jaguar Paw's heroism was largely personal, focused on survival and the protection of his family. The fan-made narrative elevates him to a communal figure, a leader tasked with guiding and protecting an entire tribe. This evolution in character mirrors the archetypal hero's journey, shifting from individual survival to societal stewardship. It introduces ethical dilemmas. How should one balance self-interest against collective welfare? How can one maintain cultural traditions in the face of inevitable change? Even as a speculative project, the trailer engages with these complex moral questions, offering viewers a narrative depth that goes beyond action sequences and spectacle. Visually, the fan trailer continues the immersive approach pioneered by the original film. Dense jungle canopies, intricately rendered pyramids, and sprawling tribal settlements create a sense of continuity, while new visual elements, dark skies, ominous river crossings, and intensified battle sequences enhance the narrative tension. The choice to depict conflict in a more apocalyptic or stylized manner underscores the heightened stakes of the imagined sequel. It suggests that the world Jaguar Paw inhabits has grown larger, more threatening, and more allegorical, reinforcing the epic scale of the narrative. The trailer also leverages sound design and voiceover to elevate emotional impact. AI-generated narration, dramatic music, and environmental sounds create a cinematic texture that feels professional. The narrator speaks in a tone that conveys prophecy and destiny, framing the events not just as physical challenges but as spiritual and existential tests. This technique strengthens audience engagement, encouraging viewers to invest in the imagined stakes and symbolic significance of the narrative. It demonstrates how technology can enhance storytelling, allowing fan creators to approximate the gravitas of a studio production. From a cultural perspective, the fan project speaks to the enduring fascination with mythology and historical storytelling. The Maya civilization, despite its distance in time, provides fertile ground for exploring universal human themes, the fragility of society, the interplay of nature and culture, and the moral choices that define leadership. By re-imagining Jaguar Paw's journey, the fan trailer allows contemporary audiences to revisit these themes while exploring new narrative possibilities. The jungle itself becomes a metaphor for memory, history, and continuity. It is alive, remembering past events, and serving as a stage where human struggles play out anew. The viral spread of the trailer also illustrates the dynamics of digital media consumption. In the contemporary media landscape, audiences are highly receptive to visually compelling, emotionally resonant content, often sharing and discussing it before confirming its authenticity. The Apocalypto 2 trailer exploited these dynamics, generating excitement and speculation despite being unofficial. This phenomenon highlights the power of fan communities to shape discourse around beloved stories, creating their own narratives and visual content that can circulate widely without studio endorsement. Moreover, the fan-made sequel raises questions about authorship and narrative ownership. While Mel Gibson created the original story and universe, the fan trailer demonstrates how modern audiences actively participate in the expansion of story worlds. This participatory culture allows fans to explore what-if scenarios, extend narratives, and experiment with character development in ways that professional studios may never pursue. It reflects a democratization of storytelling, where technology, creativity, and audience engagement converge to blur the boundaries between original creators and fans. Thematically, the speculative sequel touches on several recurring motifs: the resilience of the human spirit, the tension between tradition and change, and the interplay of destiny and choice. By portraying Jaguar Paw as a leader facing both tangible and symbolic challenges, the narrative invites reflection on leadership, moral responsibility, and the sustainability of cultural heritage. Even as a fan-made concept, it engages audiences intellectually and emotionally, encouraging them to think critically about the choices and consequences faced by both characters and societies. Finally, the Apocalypto 2 phenomenon underscores how modern storytelling can exist independently of formal production. The trailer itself, through its visuals, narration, and conceptual depth, functions as a narrative artifact, a story that exists for audiences to experience, interpret, and discuss, even without the backing of a studio. In this sense, it is both a tribute to the original film and an example of contemporary narrative experimentation, demonstrating how myth, history, and technology can intersect to create compelling speculative storytelling. The allure of Apocalypto 2, even as a fan-made concept, is rooted not only in the continuation of Jaguar Paw's story but also in the psychological investment audiences have in the original film. Apocalypto created a world that was both immediate and mythic. Viewers felt the dangers of the jungle, the tension of capture, and the stakes of life and death alongside its protagonist. That level of immersion left a strong emotional imprint. When a fan-created trailer appears suggesting that this world has endured and evolved, it taps into the collective imagination of an audience eager to explore further. This emotional resonance is a crucial reason why the trailer circulated widely, and why some viewers momentarily believed it might represent an official production. The imagined narrative of Apocalypto 2 amplifies both external and internal conflicts. Jaguar Paw, once a lone survivor and protector of his immediate family, is now positioned as a figure responsible for the survival and moral integrity of an entire tribe. The trailer hints at new antagonists who are not simply physical threats but embodiments of disruption, change, and moral challenge. These antagonists may arrive as foreign invaders wielding new technology and disease, but they also symbolically represent societal decay, greed, and the challenges inherent in rebuilding after catastrophe. This duality adds a layer of philosophical depth, making the fan narrative not just an action-adventure but also a reflection on the fragility and resilience of civilization itself. The jungle, as presented in the trailer, is more than a setting. It is a living, breathing entity and a symbol of memory and continuity. It holds the experiences of the past, the scars of previous conflicts, and the promise of regeneration. In this sense, the narrative draws a parallel between the natural world and human society. Just as the jungle adapts, survives, and remembers, so too must humans navigate the cycles of destruction and renewal. This metaphorical treatment of the environment connects the story to timeless human concerns, the relationship between humanity and nature, and the ways in which cultural memory is preserved and transmitted. The fan trailer also demonstrates how modern technology can simulate high production values, creating the illusion of a cinematic experience. The visual effects, editing techniques, and sound design are carefully calibrated to evoke the intensity of the original Apocalypto, from the chaos of battle sequences to the quiet tension of stealth and survival. AI-generated voiceovers provide a narrative commentary that frames the story with the gravitas of prophecy and destiny, reinforcing the sense of epic stakes and spiritual significance. These technological choices allow independent creators to approximate the storytelling power of studio films, blurring the line between official content and fan-made art. The speculative sequel also engages with themes of leadership and community responsibility. Jaguar Paw's journey in this imagined narrative moves from personal survival to the stewardship of a people and culture. He must make decisions that balance moral integrity with strategic necessity, negotiate conflicts both within the tribe and with external threats, and safeguard the cultural and spiritual continuity of his people. These challenges mirror real-world considerations of governance, ethics, and social cohesion, providing an intellectual as well as emotional hook for viewers. In this way, even a speculative, non-official trailer can prompt reflection on complex societal issues, extending the thematic reach of the original story. Culturally, the fan-made sequel demonstrates the power of narrative longevity and audience participation. Fans are not passive consumers of media. They actively engage with and expand stories that resonate with them. The creation of Apocalypto 2 as a concept trailer exemplifies this participatory culture. Fans reinterpret, reconstruct, and reimagine story worlds, using both imagination and technology to create extensions of beloved narratives. These creations serve multiple functions. They satisfy the desire for continuation, explore hypothetical scenarios, and provide opportunities for collective engagement and discussion. In effect, the fan trailer exists as a shared cultural artifact, a digital story space where audiences and creators interact across time and geography. Another important dimension of the fan-made trailer is how it mediates the tension between historical authenticity and narrative imagination. The original Apocalypto was set in a specific historical period, portraying a Maya civilization in decline. While it took creative liberties, it grounded its story in a recognizably historical setting. The sequel concept maintains that connection but allows for the insertion of speculative and symbolic elements, such as prophecies, mystical threats, and archetypal antagonists. This hybrid approach creates a narrative space where history and myth coexist, allowing audiences to explore the implications of human behavior and societal collapse while enjoying the imaginative freedom of storytelling beyond strict historical constraints. The viral phenomenon of Apocalypto 2 also provides insight into contemporary media consumption patterns. Audiences are exposed to vast amounts of content online, often without clear indicators of authenticity. The fan trailer demonstrates how high-quality, emotionally resonant media can circulate widely and be interpreted as legitimate by even well-informed viewers. This underscores the importance of media literacy and critical engagement, highlighting both the opportunities and risks associated with the democratization of media creation. It also reflects a shift in narrative authority. Stories no longer reside solely with professional creators or studios but can be expanded, reinterpreted, and disseminated by engaged audiences themselves. Finally, the imagined continuation of Jaguar Paw's journey allows for an exploration of existential themes that resonate beyond the immediate narrative. The trailer hints at challenges not only to physical survival but also to cultural, spiritual, and moral integrity. It raises questions about the responsibilities of leadership, the consequences of choices, and the cyclical nature of human society. By extending the story in these ways, the fan-made trailer reinforces the enduring appeal of Apocalypto as a story about resilience, legacy, and the human condition. Even without official backing, the narrative functions as a rich space for imaginative engagement, encouraging audiences to reflect on both the original story and its speculative extensions. The speculative story of Apocalypto 2 also illuminates the enduring appeal of survival narratives. The original film emphasized the raw physical struggle of Jaguar Paw against natural and human threats. The imagined sequel magnifies these struggles while introducing layers of psychological and cultural complexity. In this fan-created narrative, survival is no longer just a personal endeavor, it is communal. The tribe's well-being, continuity, and cultural identity hinge on Jaguar Paw's decisions. The narrative tension arises not only from immediate threats like predators, invading forces, or disease, but also from moral dilemmas and strategic choices. How to allocate scarce resources, when to confront enemies, and how to maintain unity in the face of fear and uncertainty. This evolution transforms the story into a meditation on resilience, leadership, and societal sustainability, inviting audiences to consider survival in a broader, multidimensional sense. The trailer's visual storytelling plays a critical role in reinforcing these themes. Dense foliage, treacherous rivers, and ominous weather conditions are not merely background. They function symbolically, reflecting the constant tension between humanity and environment, civilization, and nature. Each scene is constructed to suggest that danger is omnipresent, and survival requires both courage and cunning. The use of lighting, shadow, and movement creates a palpable sense of atmosphere, heightening suspense while signaling thematic resonance. In this way, even as a fan-made project, the trailer demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of cinematic language, using visual elements to convey deeper narrative and emotional meaning. The narrative also engages with themes of legacy and generational responsibility. Jaguar Paw's actions are no longer just about protecting himself or his immediate family. They carry consequences for future generations. This expansion of narrative stakes aligns with broader human concerns about inheritance, culture, and moral continuity. By framing his decisions in terms of tribal survival and the perpetuation of cultural knowledge, the story underscores the importance of foresight, ethical leadership, and the long-term impact of individual actions. Even in the absence of an official sequel, this fan interpretation deepens the philosophical resonance of the original story. The imagined antagonist forces in Apocalypto 2 are particularly symbolic. While the trailer depicts new invaders, disease, and environmental threats, these can also be interpreted as allegories for broader societal challenges: greed, corruption, ideological conflict, and the pressures of adapting to change. By externalizing these abstract challenges into tangible threats, the narrative provides viewers with both action-driven excitement and a conceptual framework for exploring moral and cultural dilemmas. It is this dual function, the combination of physical peril and symbolic resonance, that gives the imagined sequel its narrative depth and emotional impact. Audience engagement with the trailer reflects broader trends in digital media consumption. Social media platforms and online communities facilitate rapid dissemination, discussion, and reinterpretation of fan-generated content. In the case of Apocalypto 2, speculation about plot, character development, and thematic significance has flourished, with fans debating the plausibility of the imagined sequel, the potential role of Jaguar Paw, and the symbolic meaning of specific narrative choices. This participatory culture exemplifies how modern audiences do not merely consume stories. They actively co-create narrative meaning and expand story universes in collaborative, dialogic ways. The fan trailer thus functions not only as a visual artifact but as a catalyst for cultural dialogue and creative exploration. Another dimension of this engagement is the psychological satisfaction of narrative closure or continuation. The original Apocalypto ended on a note of ambiguity and transition. Jaguar Paw survives, reunites with his family, and glimpses European ships approaching, signaling a new era and the imminent arrival of a transformative historical force. Fans' interest in a sequel reflects a desire to explore what happens next, to imagine the future of characters and communities whose stories were left unresolved. The fan trailer, by proposing a continuation, offers a form of narrative closure, while simultaneously expanding possibilities and prompting reflection on the consequences of historical and moral choices. The use of AI-generated elements in the trailer is also noteworthy. Voice synthesis, digital effects, and compositing enable a level of production polish that would previously have been unattainable for independent creators. These tools allow fan projects to emulate the tone, gravitas, and immersive quality of professional cinema. In the context of Apocalypto 2, the AI-generated voiceover imbues the narrative with a sense of prophecy and destiny, reinforcing themes of inevitability and historical continuity. The combination of technology and creative vision demonstrates how digital storytelling can transcend traditional boundaries, creating media that is at once speculative, artistic, and emotionally resonant. The speculative sequel also revisits key thematic concerns of the original film: the relationship between humans and nature, the fragility of civilization, and the consequences of human choices. By imagining new threats and new challenges, the fan trailer highlights the cyclical nature of history. Societies rise, confront internal and external pressures, and must adapt or collapse. Jaguar Paw's evolution into a communal leader emphasizes the interplay between individual agency and collective responsibility, suggesting that survival depends not only on physical prowess but also on wisdom, ethical decision-making, and the ability to inspire and protect others. Finally, the Apocalypto 2 phenomenon illuminates how myth and history intersect in modern media. While the original Apocalypto dramatized historical realities through the lens of storytelling, the fan sequel blends historical setting with mythic structure, creating a narrative space that is both familiar and imaginative. The jungle functions as a repository of memory, the threats operate on multiple symbolic levels, and the narrative invites reflection on human resilience, moral complexity, and the enduring power of cultural heritage. In this way, even an unofficial, fan-generated project achieves narrative significance, engaging audiences not only as spectators but as active participants in the ongoing life of the story. In the speculative world of Apocalypto 2, the narrative tension is heightened by the interplay between familiar characters and newly introduced figures. Jaguar Paw, now older and seasoned by the trials of the first story, is portrayed as both a survivor and a leader. This evolution in character reflects a natural progression from personal heroism to communal responsibility. Where he once relied primarily on physical skill and instinct to survive, He must now navigate complex social dynamics, moral dilemmas, and strategic decision-making. The imagined threats in this narrative are multi-layered. They include tangible dangers such as hostile tribes, disease, or natural disasters, as well as intangible forces, including moral decay, internal betrayal, and the erosion of cultural identity. These dual threats reinforce the notion that leadership and survival are intertwined with ethics, foresight, and the preservation of knowledge and values. The fan-made trailer suggests that the rebuilt tribe is no longer isolated but part of a larger, evolving world, creating opportunities for narrative expansion. Conflicts may emerge not only from external invasions but also from interactions with neighboring communities, shifting alliances, and internal power struggles. The narrative possibility here is that the tribe, under Jaguar Paw's leadership, faces a test of cohesion, resilience, and cultural integrity. The tension between tradition and adaptation is central. The tribe must preserve its customs and values while innovating to survive new threats. This tension mirrors real historical patterns, where societies must balance continuity with flexibility to endure. Symbolism plays a crucial role in this imagined sequel. The jungle is more than a physical setting. It acts as a living chronicle of the tribe's past struggles, victories, and losses. Each river, forested path, or hidden temple carries historical and spiritual significance, reflecting the cumulative experience of the tribe. This treatment of setting imbues the narrative with a mythic dimension, allowing the jungle to serve as both a character and a moral compass. The threats to the tribe, whether natural, human, or spiritual, function as tests of character and leadership, highlighting the ongoing struggle between resilience and vulnerability, growth and destruction. Thematically, the sequel deepens the exploration of morality, choice, and consequence. Jaguar Paw's role as a leader forces him to confront questions about justice, sacrifice, and the greater good. Decisions that might save some lives could endanger others. Choices made in haste may ripple through generations. This moral complexity is a natural extension of the original film's emphasis on human instinct, survival, and the consequences of action. In the imagined sequel, the stakes are not only physical but societal and spiritual, reflecting a maturation of narrative scale and thematic depth. From a visual perspective, the fan trailer leverages cinematic techniques to communicate both the danger and beauty of the setting. Dramatic lighting, high-contrast imagery, and dynamic camera angles create an immersive experience, highlighting the tension of conflict and the majesty of the environment. The depiction of rituals, ceremonies, and symbolic acts underscores the continuity of cultural and spiritual life, even amid chaos and threat. This attention to visual storytelling enhances the narrative by providing cues to character motivations, thematic resonance, and emotional weight, making the fan project feel substantial and cinematic despite its unofficial status. Audience engagement is another defining feature of the Apocalypto 2 phenomenon. Social media, discussion forums, and video sharing platforms allow fans to speculate on plot lines, character development, and thematic interpretation. Questions such as how Jaguar Paw will confront moral dilemmas, which new characters will emerge as allies or antagonists, and how the tribe will adapt to evolving threats dominate conversations. This participatory culture demonstrates the extent to which modern audiences are willing to co-create narrative meaning, filling in gaps left by official storytelling and expanding the universe of the story through collective imagination. The narrative also explores the interplay of destiny and agency. While Jaguar Paw is guided by experience, wisdom, and instinct, the fan trailer suggests that forces beyond his control, environmental change, external invasion, spiritual prophecy, shape outcomes. This tension between personal agency and circumstantial inevitability mirrors the thematic concerns of the original film, the fragile balance between individual action and larger historical currents. It also allows for narrative tension and philosophical reflection, reinforcing the depth of the imagined sequel. Culturally, the fan-created sequel engages with ideas of memory, legacy, and heritage. By emphasizing the tribe's reconstruction and ongoing survival, the narrative highlights the importance of cultural knowledge, oral history, and ritual practice. The actions of Jaguar Paw and his people are positioned as a bridge between past and future, linking ancestral wisdom to contemporary challenges. This emphasis on continuity, cultural memory, and resilience resonates with audiences who value stories of perseverance, moral courage, and societal stewardship, underscoring why the trailer has generated widespread interest and discussion. The integration of technology into the creation of the trailer also demonstrates the evolving nature of storytelling. Advanced digital editing, AI-generated narration, and sophisticated compositing allow independent creators to produce content with a professional feel, blurring the line between fan speculation and cinematic reality. The trailer's production quality is a testament to how contemporary tools enable creative expansion of beloved narratives, allowing fans to explore what-if scenarios with an unprecedented level of polish and sophistication. This technological empowerment transforms passive viewership into active narrative participation, illustrating a broader cultural shift in how stories are experienced, disseminated, and co-created. Finally, the imagined sequel continues to explore the broader philosophical themes established in the original film. The cycles of rise, conflict, collapse, and renewal recur, suggesting that human societies are constantly tested by both internal and external forces. Jaguar Paw's journey in the speculative narrative embodies the human struggle for survival, moral integrity, and the preservation of community in the face of uncertainty. Through this lens, Apocalypto 2, even as a fan creation, functions as a meditation on resilience, legacy, and the enduring significance of culture and memory, demonstrating the power of storytelling to transcend official production boundaries and resonate with audiences across time and space. In the speculative narrative of Apocalypto 2, the interplay between tradition and innovation becomes increasingly central to the story. Jaguar Paw, now a seasoned leader, faces the challenge of preserving his tribe's cultural practices while adapting to an evolving and increasingly hostile environment. This tension mirrors the dilemmas of historical civilizations, the need to balance continuity with the capacity to innovate in response to changing circumstances. The fan-made trailer hints at this dynamic through depictions of ritual practices being maintained even as new survival strategies are employed. Whether through strategic fortifications, new hunting methods, or alliances with other groups, Jaguar Paw's leadership is defined by the careful negotiation between honoring the past and securing the future. The introduction of new characters in the imagined sequel adds depth and complexity to the narrative. Allies and antagonists alike embody a spectrum of values, motivations, and moral alignments. Some may represent wisdom, loyalty, or spiritual guidance, acting as mentors or supporters to Jaguar Paw. Others embody threats, ambition, or moral corruption, forcing him to make difficult choices. This spectrum of characters creates a dynamic social ecosystem, emphasizing that survival is not solely about physical prowess but also about navigating interpersonal relationships, trust, and ethical dilemmas. These interactions allow for rich narrative exploration, illustrating the multifaceted challenges of leadership in both human and mythic terms. Conflict in the imagined sequel is portrayed on multiple levels: external, internal, and symbolic. Externally, the tribe may face natural disasters, invading forces, or resource scarcity, creating immediate physical danger. Internally, moral and social tensions threaten cohesion, as individuals wrestle with fear, jealousy, or differing priorities. Symbolically, these conflicts represent the broader struggles of civilization, the constant negotiation between human ambition, ethical responsibility, and the inexorable forces of nature and time. By layering these levels of conflict, the narrative achieves a complexity that engages audiences both emotionally and intellectually, transforming a fan-made trailer into a compelling exploration of human and societal resilience. The environment in the sequel is depicted not merely as a backdrop but as a character in its own right. The jungle, with its hidden dangers, unpredictable terrain, and rich biodiversity, exerts pressure on human agency and decision-making. Its rivers, forests, and mountains serve as metaphors for the trials and challenges of life, reflecting the cumulative impact of past choices on the present. This treatment of environment as an active participant in the narrative reinforces the original film's thematic focus on the interplay between humans and nature, while elevating the stakes of the imagined sequel through a heightened sense of immersion and danger. Symbolism remains integral to the narrative, with spiritual and mystical elements woven into the fabric of the story. Prophecies, rituals, and ancestral guidance are depicted as both narrative and ethical frameworks, guiding the tribe's choices and underscoring the interconnectedness of past, present, and future. Jaguar Paw's leadership is therefore not only a matter of strategic decision-making but also of interpreting and honoring cultural and spiritual legacies. This layer of symbolism enhances the narrative's depth, allowing audiences to engage with the story on multiple interpretive levels and to consider the broader implications of moral and cultural responsibility. The fan-made trailer also engages audiences through its immersive audio-visual design. Cinematic techniques such as dynamic camera movement, dramatic lighting, and carefully choreographed action sequences enhance tension and reinforce thematic resonance. Sound design, including AI-generated voiceovers, environmental audio cues, and musical scoring, provides additional narrative depth. The trailer thus functions as a multidimensional storytelling tool, allowing viewers to experience the narrative emotionally, intellectually, and aesthetically. Even in the absence of official production support, these design choices demonstrate how technology and creative vision can combine to produce a compelling cinematic experience. Audience reception and engagement play a critical role in shaping the meaning of the fan-made sequel. Online communities, social media discussions, and speculative commentary allow fans to collectively explore narrative possibilities, character development, and thematic interpretation. Questions about how Jaguar Paw will navigate moral dilemmas, the role of new characters, and the symbolic significance of challenges dominate fan discourse. This participatory culture transforms storytelling from a one-way presentation into a collaborative and interactive process, highlighting how modern media consumption blurs the lines between creator and audience. The imagined sequel also emphasizes the cyclical nature of history and human experience. By depicting the tribe's reconstruction and ongoing trials, the narrative underscores the recurring patterns of societal growth, conflict, and renewal. Jaguar Paw's leadership and the tribe's survival serve as microcosms for the broader challenges faced by civilizations, illustrating the enduring tension between continuity and change, order and chaos, moral integrity and pragmatic necessity. These themes resonate deeply with audiences, providing a rich tapestry for reflection on the human condition, the consequences of choice, and the responsibilities inherent in leadership and cultural preservation. Finally, the Apocalypto 2 phenomenon highlights the transformative potential of fan-created media. Through the use of digital technology, AI, and sophisticated editing, fans are able to extend narrative universes, explore hypothetical scenarios, and engage creatively with stories that have left a lasting cultural impact. The trailer for Apocalypto 2 functions as both homage and imaginative extension, offering audiences an opportunity to explore themes, characters, and conflicts beyond the boundaries of the original film. In doing so, it exemplifies the evolving nature of storytelling in the digital age, where narrative, technology, and audience participation intersect to create experiences that are at once imaginative, immersive, and emotionally resonant. As the imagined story of Apocalypto 2 unfolds, the narrative tension intensifies through escalating conflicts, both physical and moral. Jaguar Paw, now a central figure of leadership, must navigate a series of challenges that test not only his skill and courage but also his wisdom and ethical judgment. The fan-made trailer suggests that the tribe is no longer isolated. New external threats have emerged. These adversaries could be rival tribes, armed invaders, or supernatural forces, each representing a distinct danger and offering narrative opportunities for suspense and character development. The introduction of these new threats expands the story world, creating a sense of urgency and scale while allowing the narrative to explore themes of loyalty, trust, and the consequences of strategic choices. Internal tribal dynamics also play a critical role in shaping the story. Leadership is rarely uncontested, and the fan speculation envisions situations in which Jaguar Paw must balance competing interests within his community. Characters may challenge his authority, question his decisions, or advocate alternative survival strategies. These conflicts illustrate the complexities of governance and social cohesion, highlighting the difficulties inherent in maintaining unity and moral integrity under pressure. Through these interactions, the story examines not only physical survival but also the social and ethical challenges of sustaining a community in a dangerous and rapidly changing environment. Mystical and symbolic elements remain a defining feature of the imagined sequel. The fan trailer hints at prophecies, spiritual guidance, and ancestral influence, which provide both narrative direction and thematic resonance. These elements frame the story in a mythic context, reinforcing the idea that the tribe's journey is part of a larger cycle of history and cultural continuity. Rituals, omens, and spiritual encounters are depicted as guides for decision-making, offering Jaguar Paw insight into potential threats and consequences. This layering of mystical elements with tangible threats deepens the narrative complexity, allowing audiences to engage with the story on both concrete and symbolic levels. The potential narrative arc for Jaguar Paw in Apocalypto 2 emphasizes growth and evolution. From a survivor of extraordinary circumstances, he matures into a leader whose choices have wide-reaching implications. His development involves learning to balance pragmatism with morality, to reconcile the needs of the individual with the welfare of the collective, and to navigate a world in which external pressures and internal dynamics constantly interact. This character evolution mirrors the thematic concerns of leadership, responsibility, and resilience, providing a compelling psychological and emotional journey for the audience. Cinematically, the fan trailer uses visual and auditory storytelling to reinforce narrative themes. The depiction of the jungle environment is both breathtaking and foreboding, emphasizing the constant tension between beauty and danger. Cinematic techniques such as aerial shots of tribal settlements, dynamic combat sequences, and atmospheric lighting convey the scale and intensity of the challenges faced by the characters. Sound design, including environmental effects, AI-generated narration, and musical scoring, heightens emotional impact and guides audience interpretation. These artistic choices demonstrate how the trailer achieves a sense of professional cinematic quality, even in the absence of official production backing. The interaction between myth, history, and narrative imagination is a key feature of the fan-made sequel. While the original Apocalypto was grounded in a specific historical and cultural context, the imagined sequel allows for the expansion of narrative possibilities through the incorporation of symbolic and speculative elements. This blending of historical realism and mythic storytelling enriches the narrative, offering multiple layers of meaning and engagement. Audiences are invited to interpret the events of the story not only as action and adventure but also as commentary on cultural resilience, moral choices, and the enduring patterns of human society. Audience engagement with the trailer exemplifies the participatory nature of contemporary media culture. Fans actively interpret, speculate, and expand the narrative universe, discussing character motivations, potential plot developments, and thematic implications. This engagement transforms the story into a collaborative experience, in which meaning is co-constructed by creators and audiences alike. By imagining and sharing alternative storylines, fans extend the life of the original narrative and explore hypothetical scenarios that resonate emotionally, culturally, and intellectually. The overarching thematic framework of the imagined sequel reinforces the cyclical nature of history and human experience. The rebuilt tribe's struggle against new adversaries symbolizes the ongoing tension between continuity and change, survival and adaptation, order and chaos. Jaguar Paw's leadership embodies the moral and strategic considerations necessary to navigate these cycles, emphasizing the importance of foresight, courage, and ethical decision-making. These themes resonate universally, allowing the imagined narrative to transcend its fan-made status and function as a meditation on resilience, cultural memory, and the consequences of human choices. Finally, the Apocalypto 2 fan project illustrates how digital technology, creativity, and audience participation intersect to shape contemporary storytelling. Through the use of sophisticated editing, AI voiceovers, and visual effects, independent creators can craft immersive, cinematic experiences that rival professional productions in aesthetic and emotional impact. The trailer functions as both homage and speculative extension of the original film, allowing audiences to explore narrative, thematic, and character possibilities beyond official channels. It exemplifies the evolving nature of narrative authority, where fans, technology, and creativity collectively contribute to the ongoing life and interpretation of stories that resonate across generations. In the imagined narrative of Apocalypto 2, the story reaches new heights of tension as Jaguar Paw and his tribe encounter escalating threats that test every aspect of their survival and moral integrity. The trailer hints at external adversaries, hostile tribes, invading forces with advanced weaponry, or disease-carrying outsiders, whose arrival disrupts the fragile balance of the rebuilt community. These threats force the tribe to act collectively, prompting strategy meetings, reconnaissance missions, and defensive measures. Jaguar Paw, as the tribal leader, must coordinate these efforts while maintaining morale and unity. Scenes depicted in the trailer suggest ambushes in dense jungle paths, skirmishes along riverbanks, and daring escapes from seemingly inescapable traps, emphasizing both physical and intellectual resilience. Internal conflicts compound these external dangers. Within the tribe, tensions arise between those advocating cautious strategies and those favoring bold, confrontational approaches. Some individuals may challenge Jaguar Paw's authority, questioning his decisions and judgment. Others may harbor envy, ambition, or personal grudges that complicate communal decision-making. These interpersonal dynamics heighten the stakes of leadership, demonstrating that survival is not only about physical prowess but also about diplomacy, negotiation, and ethical stewardship. Through these interactions, the narrative explores trust, loyalty, and the consequences of choice, illustrating that the survival of a society depends on more than raw strength. It depends on the integrity, wisdom, and cohesion of its people. Mystical and spiritual elements continue to shape the narrative trajectory. The fan-made trailer suggests that Jaguar Paw receives guidance from ancestral spirits or prophetic visions, which illuminate paths through danger and reveal moral imperatives. These spiritual encounters add a layer of symbolic meaning, connecting the tribe's immediate struggles to a broader narrative of cultural continuity and destiny. Rituals, ceremonies, and acts of homage to past generations function as both cultural reinforcement and narrative device, allowing audiences to perceive the tribe's trials as tests of ethical courage as much as physical endurance. The jungle itself, alive with hidden dangers and symbolic resonance, becomes a stage where these challenges manifest and where human agency intersects with the forces of fate and tradition. The escalation of conflict eventually drives the story toward high-stakes confrontations and climactic sequences. The tribe may face coordinated attacks from rival forces or natural disasters that threaten their settlement. Jaguar Paw must lead both defensive and offensive strategies, combining guerrilla tactics, clever environmental manipulation, and spiritual insight to protect his people. Battles are depicted as intense and cinematic, with the dense jungle providing both concealment and peril. These sequences blend physical danger with symbolic weight, highlighting themes of courage, resilience, and moral responsibility under extreme pressure. As the climax approaches, Jaguar Paw confronts decisions with profound ethical and cultural implications. Choices may involve risking his own life to save the tribe, mediating disputes between conflicting factions, or reconciling competing moral imperatives. These decisions carry consequences not only for the immediate moment but for the future trajectory of the community. The narrative emphasizes that leadership entails navigating the tension between personal survival, communal welfare, and adherence to cultural values. This focus elevates the story beyond action-driven spectacle, transforming it into a meditation on morality, legacy, and human responsibility. Visual storytelling in the climax is both dramatic and symbolic. Scenes may depict the jungle transformed by battle, natural phenomena, or spiritual occurrences, reinforcing the idea that the environment and human endeavor are deeply interconnected. Lighting, camera movement, and compositional choices convey tension, urgency, and emotional resonance, while sound design, combining natural sounds, musical scoring, and AI-enhanced voiceover, amplifies the audience's immersion. These techniques demonstrate the ability of fan-created content to achieve cinematic impact, even in the absence of studio backing, and provide a sensory vehicle for narrative and thematic exploration. Audience speculation often focuses on how Jaguar Paw will navigate the moral and practical challenges of the climax. Discussions highlight potential outcomes, whether the tribe survives intact, whether enemies are defeated, and how the community reconciles with losses and gains. Fans also debate symbolic interpretations, considering how spiritual guidance, ancestral legacy, and the tribe's actions reflect broader human concerns about leadership, morality, and cultural continuity. This engagement illustrates the participatory nature of modern media consumption, in which narrative meaning is co-created and extended through collective imagination and dialogue. The resolution of the imagined sequel emphasizes both survival and continuity. Jaguar Paw's leadership ensures that the tribe endures, but not without cost. Losses, sacrifices, and difficult moral compromises underscore the stakes of both physical survival and ethical decision-making. The story concludes with a sense of continuity. The tribe, strengthened by experience and guided by ancestral wisdom, remains poised to face future challenges. The jungle, as both witness and participant, holds the memory of past struggles, reinforcing the idea that survival is both immediate and historical, individual and collective. Finally, Apocalypto 2 exemplifies the potential of fan-created media to explore complex narrative and thematic territory. Through advanced visual effects, AI narration, and cinematic composition, independent creators have produced a story that resonates emotionally, intellectually, and aesthetically. Even without official production, the fan-made trailer allows audiences to experience extended narrative possibilities, delve into character development, and engage with philosophical and cultural themes. By imagining the next chapter of Jaguar Paw's journey, fans participate in a living story universe, demonstrating how technology, creativity, and collective imagination converge to shape modern storytelling. Beyond Jaguar Paw's primary journey, the imagined narrative introduces secondary characters whose arcs provide depth, tension, and resonance to the story. Among these are trusted allies, who serve not only as warriors and advisors but also as moral anchors and sources of emotional support. These characters challenge Jaguar Paw's decisions at times, questioning whether certain actions compromise the tribe's ethical integrity or risk unnecessary loss. Their presence allows for nuanced dialogue about leadership, loyalty, and the ethical dilemmas inherent in guiding a community. Other characters may represent youthful members of the tribe, eager, impulsive, or idealistic, whose actions test the balance between mentorship and autonomy. These subplots enrich the narrative, demonstrating that survival depends not only on a single hero but on the collective growth, adaptation, and moral development of the entire group. Secondary antagonists also provide complexity to the imagined sequel. Rival tribal leaders, opportunistic invaders, or morally ambiguous figures offer challenges that are as strategic and psychological as they physical. Unlike simplistic villains, these characters are shaped by circumstance, culture, and personal ambition, reflecting the story's emphasis on human complexity. Conflict with these figures allows the narrative to explore themes of justice, negotiation, and the consequences of choices made under duress. By presenting opposition that is multifaceted rather than purely evil, the fan-made narrative elevates the story into a meditation on morality, cultural negotiation, and the ethics of survival. Symbolic motifs recur throughout the fan-created story, reinforcing thematic depth. The jungle itself functions as a metaphor for unpredictability, danger, and the persistence of life across generations. Rivers symbolize both life-giving sustenance and perilous obstacles, reflecting the dual nature of existence. Rituals and ancestral guidance serve as recurring motifs of memory, cultural continuity, and spiritual alignment. The narrative's use of these symbols invites audiences to engage interpretively, seeing the story not only as an adventure but as a reflection on human resilience, moral responsibility, and the interplay between natural forces and human agency. Subplots involving environmental challenges further enrich the story. Seasonal changes, natural disasters, or ecological shifts present tangible threats to the tribe's survival, requiring adaptation and ingenuity. For example, sudden floods might force a re-evaluation of settlement locations, while disease or food scarcity could test the social bonds of the tribe and force difficult ethical choices. These challenges emphasize the interplay between humans and the natural world, echoing the original film's thematic focus while expanding it into larger, ongoing survival dynamics. By integrating ecological trials into both plot and symbolism, the imagined sequel deepens the narrative's engagement with resilience, adaptation, and the consequences of human-environment interaction. The story also explores the role of memory and storytelling within the tribe itself. Tribal elders and spiritual guides act as custodians of cultural knowledge, teaching younger generations through oral history, ritual, and lived experience. Jaguar Paw's leadership becomes inseparable from this cultural transmission. His decisions and actions are informed by the accumulated wisdom of the past, and in turn, his choices shape the lessons passed to future generations. This focus on storytelling as a tool for continuity and ethical guidance enhances the narrative's thematic richness, illustrating how human societies navigate survival not only physically but culturally and morally. Audience engagement with these secondary arcs and motifs illustrates the participatory nature of modern fan culture. Fans speculate about the development of secondary characters, propose alternative outcomes for subplots, and interpret symbolic elements according to personal, historical, or cultural perspectives. Online forums and social media amplify these discussions, creating collaborative spaces in which narrative meaning is collectively explored. The fan-made sequel thereby functions as both content and catalyst, providing a structured narrative while leaving space for imaginative expansion and interpretive engagement. The climax of these interwoven arcs culminates in a synthesis of physical, moral, and symbolic conflict. Jaguar Paw, the secondary characters, and the tribe face a series of challenges that test their collective ingenuity, courage, and ethical reasoning. Battles, environmental crises, and moral dilemmas converge, forcing decisions with far-reaching consequences. The narrative resolution emphasizes survival and continuity, showing that victory is measured not solely in immediate success but in the preservation of culture, ethics, and communal cohesion. The symbolic landscape, rivers, forests, and ritual sites, acts as a witness to these trials, reinforcing the story's themes of memory, legacy, and the cyclical nature of human experience. Finally, the imagined Apocalypto 2 narrative demonstrates the transformative power of fan engagement, technology, and collaborative imagination. Through AI-generated narration, cinematic visual effects, and sophisticated editing, creators have produced a work that resonates emotionally, intellectually, and aesthetically. By exploring secondary arcs, environmental and moral challenges, and symbolic motifs, the fan trailer elevates the story beyond its origin, offering audiences a complex and immersive experience. In doing so, it highlights the evolving role of participatory media, where narratives live, expand, and resonate through collective interpretation, imagination, and technological innovation. In the imagined world of Apocalypto 2, character backstories play a vital role in deepening the narrative and providing emotional stakes. Jaguar Paw's evolution as a leader is enriched by the memory of his past experiences, including the harrowing events of the first story, The loss, betrayal, and trials he endured shape his wisdom, resilience, and moral compass. Secondary characters similarly have detailed pasts that inform their motivations and choices. Young warriors may have lost family members in previous conflicts, creating personal stakes that intensify their actions in the present. Spiritual guides and elders carry memories of ancestral victories, failures, and lessons, providing wisdom and cautionary insight. These backstories are interwoven into the ongoing plot, allowing audiences to understand why characters make certain decisions, take calculated risks, or hesitate in moments of moral ambiguity. The depth of personal history emphasizes that survival is inseparable from memory, legacy, and cultural identity. Cultural ceremonies and rituals form a core aspect of the imagined sequel, reinforcing both thematic and narrative significance. The tribe engages in rites of passage, seasonal festivals, and spiritual offerings that connect the living to their ancestors and the natural world. These ceremonies are portrayed not as passive tradition but as active, participatory events that strengthen social bonds, provide ethical guidance, and maintain spiritual balance. For example, a ritual to honor the spirits of the jungle might coincide with a critical strategic decision, emphasizing that human choices are made within the framework of cultural memory and ethical responsibility. Such ceremonies also highlight the symbolic richness of the story. Fire, water, and animal motifs recur throughout, representing life, danger, and the continuity of ancestral wisdom. Strategic battle sequences are central to both the narrative tension and the thematic exploration of Apocalypto 2. The tribe faces confrontations that require cunning, cooperation, and intimate knowledge of the environment. Ambushes along riverbanks, defensive fortifications within dense jungle paths, and the clever use of natural terrain exemplify the blending of intellect, instinct, and leadership. Jaguar Paw directs these efforts, relying on his experience, insight, and understanding of both human psychology and environmental patterns. The battles are not purely physical contests, they tests of strategy, morality, and adaptability, reflecting the story's recurring motif that survival depends on more than strength. It requires foresight, ethical reasoning, and communal cohesion. Philosophical reflections underpin the narrative, adding layers of interpretive depth. The imagined sequel explores the tension between fate and agency, highlighting the interplay between external forces, natural disasters, invading tribes, or mystical omens, and human choice. Characters confront ethical dilemmas that test their values and priorities. The choice to risk lives for long-term survival, the decision to uphold justice versus expedience, and the balance between individual desire and collective welfare. Through these dilemmas, the story engages audiences in broader questions about leadership, morality, and the consequences of human actions, allowing the narrative to resonate on intellectual and emotional levels beyond its immediate plot. The environment continues to act as both literal and symbolic terrain. Dense jungle, winding rivers, and treacherous cliffs serve as stages for both physical and spiritual trials. Animals, weather patterns, and natural phenomena are incorporated into the plot as obstacles, allies, or symbolic markers, reinforcing the story's themes of survival, adaptation, and respect for nature. The fan-made trailer highlights the interconnectedness of the tribe with their environment, portraying humans as participants in a larger ecosystem rather than masters of it. This ecological dimension adds richness to the narrative, emphasizing the theme of symbiosis between human societies and the natural world. Secondary arcs further develop the narrative's thematic depth. Younger characters may undergo personal growth through trials, learning courage, empathy, and ethical reasoning. Some may fail, demonstrating the consequences of impulsivity or moral compromise. Villainous characters may be humanized through backstory, revealing that their actions are shaped by desperation, cultural pressures, or survival instincts. These arcs underscore the complexity of moral and cultural decision-making, reflecting the narrative's broader philosophical concerns about human nature, ethics, and resilience. Audience interpretation plays a crucial role in giving life to these imagined elements. Fans speculate on the meaning of rituals, analyze strategic decisions in battles, and debate the moral implications of character choices. Discussions often incorporate historical, cultural, and symbolic analysis, reflecting the depth of engagement that fan-created content can inspire. The participatory nature of this engagement transforms the trailer into a living narrative, one that exists both visually and conceptually, allowing the story to evolve through collective imagination and interpretation. Ultimately, the combination of character backstories, cultural ceremonies, strategic conflicts, and philosophical reflection elevates Apocalypto 2 beyond a simple action-adventure sequel. It becomes an exploration of human resilience, cultural memory, moral responsibility, and the interplay between environment, society, and spiritual belief. Jaguar Paw's journey is simultaneously physical, ethical, and symbolic, offering audiences a multifaceted narrative that resonates across emotional, intellectual, and cultural dimensions. The fan-made trailer, while unofficial, succeeds in creating a narrative space that mirrors the thematic richness of the original film, while expanding the story into new imaginative territory. The imagined story of Apocalypto 2 intensifies through the depiction of intricate tribal interactions. Jaguar Paw, now a seasoned leader, must navigate not only external threats but the delicate web of relationships within his community. Council meetings and gatherings serve as key narrative spaces, where elders, warriors, and young members debate strategy, share insights, and sometimes clash over priorities. These scenes highlight the tension between tradition and innovation. Elders advocate caution and adherence to ritual, while younger warriors push for decisive action. Through these interactions, the narrative explores the complexity of leadership and the necessity of balancing competing perspectives. The deliberations, disagreements, and moments of consensus reflect the social intelligence required to sustain a community, emphasizing that survival relies on communication, negotiation, and the cultivation of trust. Extended spiritual challenges form another essential layer of the story. The fan-made trailer hints at mystical trials in which Jaguar Paw and his tribe confront visions, omens, and ancestral tests. These challenges are both psychological and ethical, forcing characters to confront fear, doubt, and moral ambiguity. Rituals, offerings, and spiritual guidance provide pathways through these trials, but they demand insight, reflection, and courage. For example, Jaguar Paw may experience prophetic visions of impending disaster, requiring him to interpret symbolic messages accurately to protect his people. The spiritual dimension underscores the narrative's thematic concern with continuity, suggesting that survival is not solely a matter of physical skill but also of ethical alignment, cultural memory, and attentiveness to forces beyond immediate perception. The climax of the imagined sequel features high-stakes battles and environmental challenges that push the tribe to its limits. Rival factions or invaders may converge on the tribe's territory, while natural hazards such as flooding rivers, treacherous cliffs, or sudden storms compound the danger. These sequences blend tactical ingenuity with courage and ethical decision-making. Jaguar Paw directs ambushes, coordinates defensive maneuvers, and ensures the tribe adheres to principles even under extreme duress. The battles are designed not merely for spectacle but to convey narrative and symbolic weight, emphasizing themes of resilience, collective action, and the consequences of moral choice. The choreography of these sequences demonstrates how physical conflict can mirror psychological and ethical struggle, creating a layered storytelling experience. Secondary character arcs converge during the climax, highlighting growth, sacrifice, and moral resolution. Young warriors confront fear and demonstrate courage. Elders provide guidance and strategic wisdom. Allies make selfless choices that reinforce communal bonds. Even antagonists may face moments of moral reckoning, illustrating the nuanced portrayal of human motivation. These intertwined arcs emphasize that the survival of the community depends on collaboration, ethical integrity, and the willingness to confront personal and collective challenges. The narrative communicates that heroism is not solely the domain of a single protagonist, but is shared across a network of relationships, choices, and moral commitments. The resolution of the imagined sequel balances triumph with reflection and continuity. Jaguar Paw's leadership ensures that the tribe endures, but survival comes at a cost: loss, compromise, and hard-earned lessons. Cultural rituals reaffirm the tribe's connection to ancestors, and celebrations mark both the achievements and sacrifices of the community. The jungle, rivers, and sacred sites remain central, serving as witnesses to human resilience and as symbols of continuity and memory. These concluding sequences reinforce the story's philosophical themes, that survival is inseparable from ethical action, cultural preservation, and attentiveness to the cycles of history and nature. Throughout the narrative, audience engagement continues to play a critical role. Fans speculate on the intricacies of battles, the significance of spiritual trials, and the moral consequences of key decisions. Interpretive discussions explore symbolic motifs, character development, and cultural accuracy, enhancing the participatory dimension of the story. The fan-made trailer functions as both narrative artifact and catalyst for collective imagination, allowing the audience to co-create meaning and envision extensions, alternatives, and nuanced interpretations of Jaguar Paw's journey. Ultimately, the imagined Apocalypto 2 becomes a layered exploration of human experience. By combining detailed tribal interactions, spiritual trials, strategic conflict, and climactic resolution, the narrative addresses the interplay of survival, morality, cultural continuity, and ecological awareness. Jaguar Paw's journey embodies resilience, ethical responsibility, and leadership in the face of extraordinary challenges, while secondary characters, rituals, and environmental motifs enrich the story's depth. The fan-made trailer, through sophisticated audiovisual techniques, narrative complexity, and symbolic resonance, exemplifies how participatory media can expand beloved story worlds, creating immersive experiences that engage audiences emotionally, intellectually, and culturally. As the imagined Apocalypto 2 narrative progresses, the story introduces hidden mystical trials that test the tribe in ways beyond the physical and tactical. These trials manifest as enigmatic visions, cryptic omens, or natural phenomena interpreted as messages from ancestral spirits. Jaguar Paw and his closest advisors must decipher these signs to anticipate threats or make critical decisions. For instance, a sudden eclipse or unusual animal behavior may signal impending danger, forcing the tribe to act quickly and strategically. These trials blend environmental observation with spiritual insight, emphasizing the integration of practical intelligence and cultural wisdom. They reinforce the notion that survival is as much a matter of understanding the symbolic and spiritual layers of the world as it is about combat or physical endurance. Moral dilemmas are amplified in this phase of the story, pushing Jaguar Paw and his tribe to confront the consequences of their choices on both personal and communal levels. Decisions about allocating scarce resources, risking lives for strategic advantage, or resolving internal disputes illustrate the complex interplay between ethics and survival. For example, Jaguar Paw might face a situation where saving one segment of the tribe exposes another to danger. These choices carry weight not only for immediate survival but for the preservation of trust, loyalty, and cultural integrity. Such dilemmas allow the story to explore universal questions about justice, sacrifice, leadership, and responsibility, providing depth that resonates with audiences beyond the action-driven narrative. Secondary character arcs continue to evolve in compelling ways. Young warriors, who have previously demonstrated impulsiveness or inexperience, confront trials that accelerate their growth, teaching lessons about courage, foresight, and ethical decision-making. Elders and spiritual guides provide both guidance and challenge, questioning decisions when moral ambiguity arises, thus reinforcing the importance of collective wisdom. Meanwhile, antagonistic figures reveal complexity and occasionally unexpected dimensions of morality, illustrating that human behavior is rarely binary and that survival often demands negotiation, compromise, and understanding of others' motives. These overlapping arcs enrich the narrative, creating a multidimensional story in which character development is tightly intertwined with plot progression. The fan-made narrative also imagines additional subplots that enhance thematic complexity and world-building. These include internal power struggles, secret alliances, and quests for rare resources essential for survival, such as water sources, medicinal plants, or sacred sites. Each subplot not only introduces tension and suspense but also reinforces themes of ingenuity, strategic thinking, and community cohesion. For example, a subplot might depict a small group navigating treacherous terrain to recover a sacred artifact or food supply, demonstrating bravery, ingenuity, and moral decision-making. These narrative layers create a sense of a living, evolving world in which the actions of individuals ripple across the community and influence the broader storyline. As the story moves toward its conclusion, climactic sequences synthesize the lessons and challenges presented throughout the narrative. Jaguar Paw orchestrates coordinated defensive and offensive strategies against external threats, guided by the insight gained from spiritual trials, environmental understanding, and counsel from his community. Simultaneously, the tribe confronts natural challenges such as floods, fires, or predatory wildlife, emphasizing the integration of tactical skill, ethical decision-making, and communal effort. These sequences blend action, strategy, and symbolism, reinforcing the story's overarching themes of resilience, leadership, and ethical responsibility. The epilogue of the imagined sequel provides a reflective and forward-looking resolution. The tribe, having survived external threats and navigated internal challenges, celebrates their continued existence while honoring the sacrifices and lessons learned. Ceremonial gatherings, ritual offerings, and storytelling sessions ensure that cultural memory and ancestral wisdom are preserved for future generations. Jaguar Paw, now both seasoned and revered, reflects on the cyclical nature of human experience, recognizing that survival is not a final destination but an ongoing process shaped by vigilance, ethical action, and communal cohesion. The jungle, rivers, and sacred sites remain central to this reflection, serving as both witness and participant in the unfolding story of resilience and cultural continuity. The narrative's symbolic resonance extends to audience interpretation. Fans engage with the story by examining moral decisions, analyzing mystical trials, and exploring character arcs, drawing connections to broader themes of human experience, ethical leadership, and societal survival. The participatory nature of engagement transforms the fan-made narrative into a dynamic cultural artifact, one that invites discussion, debate, and imaginative expansion. By exploring hypothetical scenarios, moral complexity, and mystical symbolism, audiences co-create meaning and participate in the ongoing life of the story world. Ultimately, Apocalypto 2, as imagined through the fan-made trailer, functions as a multifaceted exploration of human endurance, cultural memory, moral responsibility, and ecological awareness. The integration of mystical trials, moral dilemmas, secondary character arcs, subplots, and reflective epilogue sequences creates a narrative that resonates emotionally, intellectually, and symbolically. Jaguar Paw's journey embodies the intersection of physical survival, ethical leadership, and cultural preservation, while the tribe's experiences illustrate the importance of collective effort, wisdom, and adaptation. Through these layers, the fan-made sequel exemplifies how storytelling, creativity, and audience participation converge to extend and enrich beloved narratives, demonstrating the enduring power of myth, history, and imagination. The imagined sequel, Apocalypto 2, offers a rich opportunity for cultural analysis, exploring how the tribe's traditions, rituals, and societal structures shape both individual and collective behavior. The reconstructed community is depicted as highly organized, with clearly defined roles, responsibilities, and ethical expectations. Elders act as custodians of knowledge, preserving ancestral wisdom and guiding decision-making, while warriors, hunters, and spiritual leaders contribute specialized skills and insights. Rituals serve as both symbolic and practical mechanisms, reinforcing cohesion, marking significant seasonal or life cycle events, and providing a framework for interpreting environmental and spiritual signals. By emphasizing the interplay between culture and survival, the narrative underscores the importance of social structures, ethical frameworks, and continuity in maintaining resilience against external and internal challenges. Psychologically, the characters are portrayed with depth and nuance, reflecting the mental and emotional dimensions of survival and leadership. Jaguar Paw's experiences of trauma, loss, and isolation from the first story inform his decision-making, tempering courage with prudence and empathy with resolve. Secondary characters exhibit their own psychological complexity. Younger members grapple with fear, ambition, or ethical uncertainty, while elders balance nostalgia, caution, and moral guidance. The fan-made sequel explores how these internal struggles influence interpersonal relationships and collective action, highlighting that survival is as much a psychological endeavor as a physical or tactical one. Characters must confront internal doubts, reconcile past failures, and navigate moral ambiguity, demonstrating the intricate interplay of individual psychology and communal responsibility. Philosophical themes are woven throughout the narrative, particularly around leadership, moral responsibility, and legacy. Jaguar Paw embodies the tension between personal desire and the welfare of the community, illustrating that effective leadership requires courage, ethical clarity, and adaptability. The tribe's struggles against external threats and internal conflicts serve as allegories for broader human challenges, balancing immediate survival with long-term continuity, negotiating moral complexity in difficult circumstances, and integrating wisdom, experience, and intuition in decision-making. Through these thematic lenses, the story becomes not merely an adventure but a meditation on the responsibilities inherent in guiding a community, preserving culture, and maintaining moral integrity in the face of adversity. Audience reactions, even to a fan-made trailer, reflect the depth and resonance of these themes. Fans speculate about character motivations, moral choices, and potential narrative outcomes, often engaging in discussions that combine historical, cultural, and philosophical interpretation. The trailer's visual and narrative sophistication fosters an immersive experience, encouraging viewers to analyze symbolic motifs, predict plot developments, and debate the ethical dimensions of key decisions. The participatory nature of this engagement illustrates how fan-created content can function as a catalyst for critical reflection and collective storytelling, allowing audiences to co-create narrative meaning while deepening their connection to the story world. The fan-made sequel also invites reflection on the intersection of history and myth. While rooted in the cultural and historical context of Mesoamerican civilization, the narrative allows for imaginative elaboration, integrating symbolic, mystical, and allegorical elements. Ancestral guidance, spiritual visions, and environmental symbolism extend the story into the realm of mythic resonance, connecting individual and communal experiences to broader human concerns about mortality, morality, and societal continuity. This blending of historical realism and mythic imagination enables the narrative to operate on multiple levels, engaging audiences emotionally, intellectually, and culturally. Secondary arcs, including the development of younger tribe members and morally ambiguous antagonists, reinforce the narrative's exploration of ethics, resilience, and personal growth. Each subplot provides opportunities to examine decision-making, leadership dynamics, and cultural continuity in miniature, reflecting the larger themes of the story. Characters face dilemmas that mirror those encountered by Jaguar Paw, creating a narrative web in which lessons, challenges, and consequences ripple across both individuals and the community as a whole. This layered approach adds depth to the narrative, ensuring that every action, choice, and interaction carries significance within the broader thematic framework. The story's environmental dimension remains integral to both narrative tension and philosophical reflection. The jungle, rivers, and sacred sites are depicted not only as physical obstacles or resources but as participants in the unfolding drama. Environmental challenges symbolize the unpredictability of life, the necessity of adaptation, and the interdependence of humans and nature. Strategic use of terrain, careful observation of wildlife, and interpretation of natural phenomena are essential for survival, reinforcing the story's emphasis on wisdom, attentiveness, and ethical action in navigating complex systems. This ecological consciousness adds a layer of thematic sophistication, positioning the narrative as a meditation on human resilience within a dynamic natural world. Finally, the imagined sequel's epilogue underscores the enduring significance of legacy and memory. The tribe, having survived trials both physical and spiritual, reflects on its past achievements and losses, honoring ancestors and transmitting wisdom to younger generations. Jaguar Paw, now an experienced and reflective leader, embodies the integration of skill, moral responsibility, and cultural awareness. The narrative concludes with a sense of continuity rather than finality, suggesting that survival and ethical stewardship are ongoing endeavors. Symbolic motifs, rivers flowing, forests thriving, and ceremonial fires burning, reinforce the cyclical nature of human experience, cultural preservation, and ethical action. As Apocalypto 2 expands in scope, hypothetical sequels and what-if scenarios provide fertile ground for imagining the long-term evolution of Jaguar Paw's tribe. One possible trajectory envisions the community confronting increasingly complex societal challenges, resource management, intertribal diplomacy, and adaptation to ecological shifts such as changing river patterns, climate fluctuations, or the encroachment of foreign explorers. Each scenario emphasizes the intersection of environmental knowledge, cultural wisdom, and ethical leadership. These imagined developments highlight the dynamic tension between continuity and change, illustrating that the preservation of culture requires both adherence to tradition and innovation in the face of new circumstances. Speculative scenarios also allow for exploration of alternate paths for key characters. For instance, Jaguar Paw might confront situations in which his moral code conflicts with the pragmatic needs of survival, forcing him to weigh personal ethics against the welfare of the tribe. Secondary characters could experience arcs in which loyalty is tested, ambitions clash with communal necessity, or personal loss catalyzes growth. These narrative possibilities provide a canvas for exploring human psychology, resilience, and the consequences of ethical decision-making, reinforcing the story's philosophical depth. By entertaining multiple trajectories, the narrative underscores the fluidity of human experience and the multiplicity of outcomes that arise from critical choices. Deeper tribal myths and spiritual lore play an increasingly prominent role in these extended narratives. Ancestors, spirits of the jungle, and mystical forces are woven into the fabric of the story, shaping decisions, guiding moral reflection, and serving as symbolic mirrors for human experience. Rituals that honor the cycles of life, death, and natural phenomena reinforce ethical imperatives, social cohesion, and cultural continuity. Legends of heroic deeds, ancestral wisdom, and cautionary tales are recounted during storytelling ceremonies, embedding moral and strategic lessons in the community's collective consciousness. These mythic layers elevate the narrative from a mere adventure to a meditation on cultural memory, morality, and the interconnectedness of human and natural systems. The long-term societal evolution of the tribe is another avenue for speculative exploration. As generations pass, the community may develop more sophisticated systems of governance, conflict resolution, and resource management. Elders continue to impart ancestral wisdom, while younger members innovate and adapt to changing circumstances. The narrative might depict the gradual integration of knowledge about agriculture, sustainable hunting, and environmental stewardship, ensuring the tribe's survival amid evolving ecological pressures. Such developments illustrate the dynamic relationship between cultural tradition and innovation, emphasizing the importance of learning, adaptability, and ethical continuity in sustaining human societies. Fan theory implications further enrich the narrative universe. Fans may speculate about Jaguar Paw's descendants, the tribe's encounters with external civilizations, or the symbolic significance of recurring motifs such as rivers, sacred animals, or celestial events. These interpretations allow the community of viewers to collaboratively expand the story, adding new dimensions, thematic layers, and moral considerations. For example, a fan theory might explore the notion that spiritual trials represent internal psychological conflicts as much as external guidance, creating a dual layer of interpretation that merges individual character development with communal ethical reflection. Such engagement exemplifies how audience participation transforms narrative worlds into living, evolving spaces of collective imagination. Additionally, speculative scenarios can integrate broader historical and cultural contexts, imagining how Jaguar Paw's tribe might respond to the arrival of distant civilizations or new technologies. This expansion allows for the exploration of cross-cultural interaction, adaptation, and ethical negotiation. How the tribe maintains its identity while interacting with external forces, absorbs knowledge, or negotiates conflicts becomes a thematic focus, reflecting both historical realities and universal questions about cultural survival and moral responsibility. These speculative extensions deepen the narrative, providing audiences with a rich matrix of possibilities that explore human resilience, leadership, and ethical complexity. Symbolism continues to reinforce the narrative's thematic resonance in these extended scenarios. Rivers might signify the passage of time, forests the enduring presence of nature, and ritual fires the continuity of culture and ancestral memory. Each challenge faced by the tribe, each moral decision confronted by Jaguar Paw, is imbued with symbolic significance, connecting the immediate action to broader philosophical reflections on survival, morality, and the cyclical nature of human existence. These layers encourage interpretive engagement, inviting audiences to consider how narrative, myth, and morality intersect in shaping both individual and communal experience. Finally, the integration of fan-generated content, digital tools, and participatory storytelling enhances the narrative universe of Apocalypto 2. Audiences not only consume speculative sequels and what-if scenarios but actively contribute ideas, interpretations, and creative extensions, making the story a collaborative and evolving cultural artifact. This dynamic demonstrates the power of imagination, technology, and collective engagement in sustaining and expanding beloved narratives, showing how a fan-made sequel can evolve into a complex, multi-layered exploration of culture, ethics, and human experience. In the imagined universe of Apocalypto 2, detailed character genealogies provide a framework for understanding the social, ethical, and cultural dynamics of Jaguar Paw's tribe. The narrative traces family lineages across generations, emphasizing how values, skills, and knowledge are transmitted. Jaguar Paw himself represents the culmination of ancestral experience, carrying both the physical abilities and the moral wisdom of previous generations. Younger characters, such as apprentices, warriors in training, and children, inherit not only genetic traits but also ethical imperatives and cultural responsibilities. The genealogical mapping of the tribe underscores the continuity of human experience, illustrating how survival, morality, and cultural identity are interwoven through lineage. It also allows the narrative to explore themes of legacy, inheritance, and the impact of past choices on future generations. Symbolic environmental mapping further enriches the narrative. The jungle, rivers, mountains, and sacred sites are depicted not merely as physical settings but as embedded with cultural, spiritual, and narrative meaning. Each river bend, clearing, or cave is associated with past events, ancestral spirits, or moral lessons, creating a landscape that functions as both stage and storyteller. Strategic mapping of these environments in the fan-made sequel demonstrates how Jaguar Paw and the tribe integrate knowledge of terrain, natural hazards, and symbolic significance into their decision-making. This dual function, practical and symbolic, reflects the tribe's holistic understanding of their world, highlighting themes of interconnectedness between humans, culture, and nature. Ritual calendar analysis is another critical component of the imagined sequel. The tribe observes ceremonies tied to lunar cycles, seasonal changes, and celestial events, which structure social life, resource management, and spiritual practice. These ceremonies mark planting and harvesting periods, honor ancestral spirits, and provide guidance for critical decisions. For example, a full moon ritual might coincide with a strategic planning session for an impending threat, reinforcing the integration of cultural practice with survival strategy. By examining the ritual calendar in detail, the narrative illustrates the sophistication of tribal knowledge systems, the centrality of cultural memory, and the ethical frameworks that guide decision-making. Intergenerational narratives expand the story across time, connecting Jaguar Paw's experiences to the lives of descendants and the broader evolution of the tribe. These narratives explore how lessons learned through conflict, survival, and moral dilemmas are transmitted, adapted, and reinterpreted by successive generations. Younger characters, influenced by ancestral wisdom and contemporary experience, negotiate their own challenges, blending tradition with innovation. This intergenerational lens emphasizes that survival is not an isolated event but a continuum, linking past struggles, present choices, and future possibilities. The narrative thus operates on multiple temporal planes, allowing audiences to appreciate the enduring consequences of leadership, ethical decision-making, and cultural stewardship. Secondary arcs within these intergenerational stories focus on mentorship, moral education, and skill transmission. Elders guide apprentices in combat, navigation, spiritual practice, and ethical reasoning, while younger characters challenge assumptions, propose innovations, and occasionally test moral limits. These interactions create dynamic social ecosystems, illustrating how communal cohesion, knowledge transfer, and ethical deliberation underpin the tribe's survival. The narrative highlights that leadership is relational and collaborative, involving the cultivation of trust, guidance, and moral clarity across generations. The combination of genealogical detail, environmental symbolism, ritual structure, and intergenerational perspective also enriches audience engagement. Fans can speculate about character lineages, interpret the symbolic significance of environmental features, analyze the timing and meaning of rituals, and project the consequences of intergenerational decisions. These interpretive layers encourage participatory storytelling, enabling viewers to co-create meaning, develop fan theories, and explore ethical and cultural dimensions in depth. The result is a narrative universe that extends beyond visual spectacle, providing a rich tapestry of historical, cultural, and philosophical engagement. Finally, these narrative elements reinforce the overarching themes of Apocalypto 2: resilience, ethical leadership, cultural continuity, and the interplay between humans, environment, and spiritual forces. By integrating character genealogies, symbolic landscapes, ritual calendars, and intergenerational arcs, the story achieves a holistic, immersive experience. Jaguar Paw's journey is both immediate and timeless, his actions rooted in personal and communal responsibility, while the tribe's evolution illustrates the enduring power of cultural memory, collective wisdom, and moral stewardship. The fan-made sequel, through these expanded layers, exemplifies the potential of participatory media to create complex, long-form narratives that resonate emotionally, intellectually, and culturally.